Please stand for worship. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, O Lord, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and renew a right spirit within me. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, O Lord, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and renew a right spirit within me. Create in me a clean heart, O God. You are holy, and you are mighty, and you are worthy, worthy of praise. And I will follow, and I will listen, and I will love you all of my days. And I will sing to and worship the King who is worthy. I will love him, adore him. I will bow down before him. I will sing to and worship the King who is worthy. I will love him, adore him. I will bow down before him. You're my Prince of Peace, and I will live my life for you.
Good morning. Today's been in the word comes from Romans 7, verses 4 through 6. So, my brothers and sisters, you also died to the law through the body of Christ, that you might belong to another, to him who was raised from the dead, in order that we might bear fruit for God. For when we were in the realm of flesh, the sinful passions aroused by the law were at work in us, so that we bore fruit for death. But now by dying to what once bound us, we have released from the law, so that we serve the law, or serve the new way of the Spirit, and not the old way of the written code. We pray with me. Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for this beautiful day, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to gather here and worship you and just sing praises to your name, Lord. I ask that you walk with each and every one of us as we go throughout this beautiful day that you've created for us. In your precious name I pray. Amen.
All right, we practice intro speeches in my advanced public speaking class, so I'm winging it. Tim Lewis he didn't even ask me, I offered. He's going to be up here talking about organ donations. This is something that is very important to him if you guys have been around last semester. Also, it's something that I've begun to notice a lot more, as I know some people who just had like heart surgery and they needed a replacement, and that's something that every 15 years they're going to have to go do. So he's going to come up and he's going to talk to you a little more about that. We have things set up for after chapel, so if you guys just give him your attention and listen to him.
Thanks, Mac. I'd give that an A-. It is good to be with you today. I don't know, because probably 4 or 5 times since I've been at York College, I've been given April 1st to speak on. Trying not to read too much into that, but I'm going to try to have the things I say today not be too foolish to you in the end. I need 2 things from you today. I need 2 things from everybody here today. Can everybody look at me? This is that important to me. I need 2 things from you. Number 1, I need you to take advantage of a very important opportunity. And number 2, I need you to help me keep a promise to someone that I loved very, very dearly. Do I have the clicker? There's the clicker. That's not who I love dearly. But I do love I do love Stan Lee, right? You guys saw that Stan Lee died in November, right? Stan Lee created the Marvel Universe. I credit him to all my quality entertainment over the past 7 or 8 years, right? The thing I most admired and I love about Stan Lee is that in the universe that he created, he was able to take ordinary people and make them into superheroes. Of course, they had to get bit by a spider, like, the Spider-Man guy. What's his name? Peter Parker. Scott Lang is the Ant-Man guy. He just had a suit. Clint Barton, Hawkeye, ordinary guy. Bruce Banner, exposed a little bit of gamma rays. He's the Hulk. And of course, Captain America, Steve Rogers. But he'd take ordinary people and put them in circumstances and have a superhero emerged. And I always loved that about his imagination. When the world needed saving and it needed a hero to appear, one would come and save the day. So I want to ask myself, what would Stan Lee do in this situation? Because the world definitely is in need of a hero and heroes, and even a group of heroes like he sometimes does. So here's that opportunity I was talking to you about. Today is the first day of National Organ Donation Awareness Week. And as we sit here in chapel today, 114,000 people in the United States need a life-saving transplant in the next 60 days. 2,000 of those are children under 16. There's 450 of those folks in Nebraska alone. 40 people in our state need new hearts as soon as possible, and less than half of them will receive them in time. All in all, 20 people every single day die waiting for a transplant. 95% of every American polled says, I believe in organ transplant. I think it's a good thing. And yet only 58% are signed up to be donors. Do you know the state of Nebraska is almost just under 80% of people here that are organ donors? Way to go, Cornhuskers, right? Yeah. We have some heroes with us today. Some people who have answered the call, have seen the possibility, have seen the importance of that gift, and today they're wearing green ribbons. I'd like to have everybody in our audience today that is an organ donor signed up and registered to be one to stand up right now. Let's see who you are. Let's give those folks a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. And on behalf of parents and families that are sitting in hospital rooms all over the country today, waiting, I thank you for your heroic willingness to help. A fact is that each donor can save up to 9 people. You can donate a heart, liver, lungs, kidneys, corneas, and yes, even skin. I'm going to a 5K fundraising, run in Papillion, Nebraska at the end of this month. And the guest speaker is going to be this gentleman. His name is Jason Sherletsy. Anyway, that's Jason. He's got a really difficult last name. He's going to be speaking about his experience. This is what Jason looks like today. Jason was a rookie policeman in Phoenix, Arizona. He was just in a squad car, and all of a sudden a taxi cab with a guy that was tweaked on something and going over 100 miles an hour barreled into the back of his squad car, and his squad car burst into flames. He was burned over 40% of his body, and he's had over 50 surgeries, 50 skin grafts to try to get him even to the appearance he is today. The fact that he's alive is a miracle, and he often refers to himself as the luckiest man on the planet. I'm going to go listen to that guy speak. Skin, the donation of skin, made all the difference in his life. Some people have chosen not to give because there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of fear associated with being a donor. So let's address the top 3 concerns. Number 1, it's going to cost my family money. Well, that's just simply not true. All costs associated with the identification, the testing of potential organs, the harvesting of those, to take them there. No family has ever gotten a bill. No insurance company from that family gets a bill. It's done completely free of charge. Number 2, I'm too old to give, or I've got something wrong with me where I can't give. That also is not true. Anybody over 16 years old can donate. And they will do all the testing and determine whether there's something that's medically wrong with you, but there might be other things that you can donate. So don't eliminate yourself because you're too old. Maybe your heart might be too old, but your corneas and things like that. Even Nick DeToro might find something that he can donate at his advanced age. Number 3, this is a serious one because somebody told me, or they said, I won't be able to have a normal funeral with an open casket. My family, we don't want to do that. In 98% of all donations, there's absolutely no visible physical signs and no change to the appearance of your body. It's just simply not something that happens. And so it can be done unnoticed, and you can go on with a normal funeral. So starting today and continuing through April 14th, the Phi Beta Lambda Business Club, along with the Lewis family, invites you to participate in the Me+1 campaign. And we have some goals. First goal is to try to sign up at least 90% of all of you, of everybody in our York College family. That's faculty, staff, and students to become organ donors. We can do that today with the filling out of a very simple card. You can do that today. Goal number 2, and this is the big one. It's for everybody that agrees to be an organ donor here, that you would go out and find a +1. Somebody not in the York family here, that go out outside and bring somebody in, a family member, a good friend, at least one. I don't care how many you get, as many as you can to be an organ donor as well. We would like to have at least 250 new donors at the end of this 2-week period. You think that's something we can do?
Yeah.
I think we can if you'd sit up and you listen, and you not only come out of here convicted, but actually go and just direct people to the site I'm going to give you. It's up on the board, www.liveonnebraska, which is fully spelled, .org. There's going to be an email I send to everybody on campus that you can forward on to somebody that will have a link to that website where people can donate and give in about 1 minute. Okay? It's a Nebraska registry, but it's linked to every other donation registry across the nation. Those are our goals, and we'd like to invite you to be a part of that. You see, it's a numbers game. And the good news is that most of us are going to pass away from probably old age, right? We're going to live a long time. Some of us, the second leading cause would be heart disease, and that might eliminate some of the things that we could give as far as that. Cancer is going to take a lot of us, and chemotherapy will damage a lot of organs. And so there is a very small group of people that ultimately will be able to give. That's why we're behind the game a little bit. So we need numbers. We need you +1 or more people to be able to have this kind of impact. I told you at the beginning I needed you to do two things, and the second thing I need is for you to help me keep a promise to someone that I loved very, very dearly. And as she mentioned, and many of you know that my son Tyson, he's the big guy on the right there, he passed away in September. When he was a kid, he had childhood cancer. He lost his leg because of bone cancer. And because of the chemotherapy they had to use to save his life, 12 years later it attacked and killed his heart. He was a student just like you after his sophomore year, right after spring break. Right now in the month of April, which we hate at our family, because April, everything bad happened in April, but that's going to change. He just felt like he wasn't right, and we took him in and he was in heart failure. They put him on a pump for a year, and almost to the year of the day, a heart became available for him. The heart came from a young man, a little bit older than you are. His name was Tori. It's weird because in my family, we were going to name all of our kids, all of our boys, with T's and Y's. Tyson and my other son, Toby. That's my wife, Robin, in the middle. She was on a flight to New Orleans yesterday, and she sat by Governor Pete Ricketts for a half hour and did not recognize him. But I'm going to save that for another story, another day. Tyson and Toby, and how ironic it is that a person that gave my son their heart, to Tori, with a Y, has also become a very, very valuable part of our family and will be for the rest of our lives. Tyson lived 6 years with Tori's heart, and then it started to fail because Tyson's body was just super rejected everything, hyperimmune system, and it failed. And he waited for almost 3 months in the hospital, but he didn't make it until the second transplant. There are just not enough hearts to go around. While we're sitting there, Tyson just said, "Dad, when I get my next heart," and he always was like that. He's always like that. Because when you give a donation, you give life, you give hope, you give time. Time. Because he had hope, he said, "Dad, when I get my next organ transplant, I'm going to try to get so many more people to be donors. Because this is ridiculous." I think he said this sucks, but I didn't want to say that in chapel. This is ridiculous. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. I'm going to get more people, and I want to be really, really, I want to make a difference in that community. I want to get more people. And I said, "Son, I'll do it with you. I'll be side by side with you." And that's what I'm trying to do today. To help him make a difference. Because he does. And he did. Circle back to Stan Lee. We know who this guy is, right? Most of us do. In the last movie, this is Thanos. And Thanos caused what? Half of the universe to disappear? Well, this is what I feel like. In the last few months, my father-in-law died. My father died in January. And I lost Tyson in September. It just seems like I've been Thanos'd. That half of the people I've loved have disappeared. But I do know that every time I get a chance to come up and do something like this, that makes a difference, that saves lives, to call people like you to be heroic, I know you have it in you, that it helps bring my son back just for a little bit, and I feel un-Thanos just for a while. And I ask you to help me do that again today. Can we do that? Is that something we can do? We can't do it. I just simply can't do it without you. We need you plus one or more to be heart donors, or organ donors, tissue donors. We need you all. So in just a moment, we're going to sing the school song because it never gets old, right? Over here, if you are not an organ donor, looked like we were running about 70% organ donors in the crowd. If you're in that 30%, if you don't have a ribbon today, come on over to this table right here. We've got a card for you to fill out. You can do it in 1 minute and join those ranks. And then come on over and take that piece of paper that we gave you and turn it in on this station over here. Put your name in it. Check a box to all the groups on campus that you're part of, because we're going to try to break people into smaller groups and kind of follow up with you through their groups. We've got people that have volunteered in choir and baseball and stuff to follow up with their folks on how they're doing over the next couple weeks. Look for that email today because it'll give you specific instructions for your +1 on how to join. But turn those things in today. Become a donor and become part of the +1 plan. We need every single person in here today. If you still have questions, let me know because we need each and every one of you to be a part of this. Thank you for your time and attention and your love and your sacrifice and the fact that you're going to just a little bit of time and attention to get this thing done. Let's stand together. Let's sing the school song.
On the hill of the rising sun,
Since a college we hold so dear, rooted deep is our loyalty, grounded firm is our faith sincere. In our hearts will ever be blue and white, a blessed memory. Through the years our voices raise in praise to thee, O hail your care. Looking down on a busy town, since a college with aim so high. For the best in our work and sport, we are glad we can sound the